I know your pain. I know you're hurt. We had an election that was stolen from us. It was a landslide election, and everyone knows it, especially the other side. But you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people in law and order. We don't want anybody hurt. It's a very tough period of time. There's never been a time like this where such a thing happened, where they could take it away from all of us, from me, from you, from our country. This was a fraudulent election, but we can't play into the hands of these people. We have to have peace. So go home. We love you. You're very special. You've seen what happens. You see the way others are treated that are so bad and so evil. I know how you feel. But go home and go home in peace.
It's just after 7 p.m. here in Washington, D.C. I'm actually 10 miles south of D.C., but in the D.C. area. And that was the president just about 2 hours ago. And then he followed up with a tweet. These are the things and the events that happen when a sacred landslide election victory is so unceremoniously and viciously stripped away from great patriots who have been badly and unfairly treated for so long. Go home with love and peace. Remember this day forever. No, Mr. President. This is what happens when people are lied to and when they're misled by a very, very weak and self-absorbed individual like yourself. That's why these things have occurred. Let's listen to your own words from this afternoon.
These people are not going to take it any longer. They're not going to take it any longer. The fake news and the big tech is now coming into their own. We beat them 4 years ago. We surprised them. We took them by surprise. And this year, they rigged an election. They rigged it like they've never rigged an election before. And by the way, last night they didn't do a bad job either, if you notice.
So this is my point. He talks about an election that's been rigged, an election that's been stolen. And then on top of that, today we just had announcements of a historic win. Georgia elected the first African-American senator to the U.S. Senate. And President Trump, again, makes an accusation that the Georgia election from today, or from yesterday, has been stolen. He continues this. Let's listen to some more.
We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved.
Again, as you can hear, the president continues with the same rhetoric of we will not concede. You don't when there's theft involved. Mr. President, your time to concede was almost 2 months ago. It was back in November, not in January, especially not on the day in which the election is being certified by a joint session of Congress. We'll see what else he has to say.
Yeah, Michigan, Georgia, by hundreds of thousands of votes. And then late in the evening or early in the morning, boom, these explosions of bullshit. And all of a sudden, it started to happen.
That part, I've got nothing on that one.
Democracy. And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. We're going to walk down anyone you want, but I think right here, we're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women. And we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them, because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength, and you have to be strong.
And that's exactly what they did. They walked down to the Capitol and they breached the Capitol barricades. They've been in the House and Senate chambers. They've been in Speaker Pelosi's office. They've been elsewhere. It is horrific that there's just news hit that a woman was shot and she has died. I don't know if she was somebody who worked within the Capitol complex or if she was one of the protesters. I don't know. We haven't seen that information yet. You know, I mentioned earlier today that I've served in Iraq, Afghanistan, Central and South America, Europe. I think my total number of countries that I either served in or lived in or spent something over a week in was over 50. I think 58 total. Today is probably one of the Saturdays that I've had. Yeah, it's something else. But you know, on another note, there was a statement put out a little while ago from former President George W. Bush on the insurrection at the Capitol. I'll read it to you shortly, but you know, President Trump is unhinged. I don't know. He lives in a world, and I honestly think that he honestly believes everything he says. I don't think he's pushing the misinformation and disinformation for the purposes of that. I spent the last 20 years of my military experience or my military career as an information operations officer. I dealt a lot with cognitive and information systems, information environment, how information is used, and what are conspiracy theories, what's misinformation, disinformation, and all of that. I honestly believe that he believes everything that he is saying. That makes him extremely, extremely, extremely dangerous. It'll be interesting to see over the next 24 hours what happens with Vice President Pence. When Vice President Pence certifies the election tomorrow, I don't know how to respond to him. Today, Congressman Gosar and Senator Cruz objected to the first of many, I expect, of Arizona's certification. I wonder if those senators and congressmen will think twice tomorrow, or will they just do their constitutional duty, ceremoniously certify the results? Because there's been 59 court cases that the Trump campaign has brought to the courts, and not a single one of them, not a single one has had any type of merit. And they've all been thrown out. So, but, if there had been legitimate issues, then fine. But there's not. So I'll leave you with the words of President Bush. Laura and I are watching the scenes of mayhem unfolding at the seat of our nation's government in disbelief and dismay. It is sickening and heartbreaking sight. This is how election results are disputed in a banana republic, not our democratic republic. I'm appalled by the reckless behavior of some political leaders since the election and by the lack of respect shown today for our institutions, our traditions, and our law enforcement. The violent assault on the Capitol and disruption of a constitutionally mandated meeting of Congress was undertaken by people whose passions have been inflamed by falsehoods and false hopes. Insurrection could do grave damage to our nation and reputation. In the United States of America, it is the fundamental responsibility of every patriotic citizen to support the rule of law. To those who are disappointed in the results of the election, our country is more important than the politics of the movement. Let the officials elected by the people fulfill their duties and represent our voices in peace and safety. May God continue to bless the United States of America.